You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask Drone U. As always, my name is Paul, and we're going to be providing you with a succinct breakdown of foreign versus domestic drones. If you are in an enterprise drone program, enterprise drone business, think of it as you're doing a lot of volume of work. Maybe not so much the DSP work, but more so a lot of volume of work. If you're in utilities, you're in construction, you're in public works, you're in engineering, architecture, road construction, there's so much that's going on, and it's about time that we talk about the different enterprise options of drones for you if you are considering what to buy in the near future, and really do it by deliverable. Rob and I have had so many Zoom calls over the last few months. That's why we haven't done a show. We've been doing a lot of training, and a lot of these questions keep coming up. So we're going to be discussing the best drones by deliverable, and because we're going to be talking about mapping, I just want to say a quick shout out. If you are considering you want to learn mapping or modeling desktop-based software with Pix4D or cloud-based software with Pix4D or SiteScan, then you got to join us for a Drone U mapping bootcamp here in Loveland, Colorado. We've got 3 coming up just so that you have an opportunity to enjoy hot days or cold days coming in the fall. You're going to map real world assets. You're going to go through 12 exercises. You're going to learn the differences between cloud software that's great for volume-based jobs, and you're also going to learn what software is good for what deliverable. For example, would I ever teach you to create topos with Pix4D? Absolutely not, but I would definitely do it with SiteScan. There's so many differences, and there's so much value in using an Esri product. You got to join us for a training. Just go to thedroneu.com and click in-person training to book your spot today, because you won't regret it. All right, Rob, we've been traveling a lot. We just got back from Drone Day. We saw, a nice $300,000 robot.
Yeah, a nice $300,000 robot. That's true. That thing was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
It was the Boston Dynamics Spot Dog.
I just wish I could have ridden it. Like, I wanted to surf that thing.
Oh my gosh, that would have been so much fun.
They would not let me surf it, which was really disappointing.
I got a question for you. Lamborghini or Spot the Robot Dog? It's a valid question.
It's a valid question and a really easy decision.
All right. Well, we also just saw a bunch of drone-in-the-box solutions up at Airspace Link in Detroit, seeing the really cool corridor of drone delivery that they're doing. They're even supporting bike manufacturing with drone delivery parts. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, they're doing really cool stuff that I know because of your trip up there and some of the things that I'm starting to see them put out publicly, but really cool stuff. We also saw the Skydio dock in action, which actually flew it. What's the right word?
Virtually, remotely.
Jeez, 2 months. Anyways, that was a really cool experience. That's a pretty impressive operation.
It is. And there were definitely some things that I learned about that too that were very interesting as well. Like regarding how with the remote dock, you can do 2D mapping missions, but not 3D because they're like not there yet, which is interesting. That might force them to completely, change the way that 3D scan works. But it was also interesting to see all the use cases for these drones. It goes way beyond what I think a lot of people understand.
Oh, 100%. And that's really cool to see that happening in real time. Most definitely. We got to give a shout out to On Good. We got to hang out with On Good for lunch. That was cool.
Actually, that brunch was the best food that we had all week long.
I don't know if I'd say that.
I would.
Paul would. It was just so different. It was such an unusual breakfast for a guy from the Mountain West.
You had fish and eggs.
I had fish and eggs with basically pork and beans.
That was very English
and
of them.
Red fried tomatoes.
That was delicious. I enjoyed that.
It was very good. It was just so unusual to my palate.
Well, you'll be going to Europe soon, so get used to it.
That's true. Looking forward to that. Anyways, so I think we should jump in and talk about some of the drones and some of the applications that drones match up with.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of what our objective is here today.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that whether people like it or not, they need to start getting as intimately connected and understood or develop an understanding of what domestic drones can do. Not that we're not going to talk about some of the drones we're used to, some of the DJI stuff, obviously, because we can still use those.
Oh, I finally figured out a solution. You know, one of the things I've been complaining about with DJI for a long time is that these enterprise drones that have attitude mode don't have high frame rate filming. They don't have high bit rate filming.
Because they're bifurcating purposely.
Yeah. So I figured out how to solve this problem on the cheap because I love attitude mode, especially for tracking boats.
It was fun to be flying the Phantoms again.
Oh my gosh.
We had a blast.
I'm so glad the Matrice 4 Enterprise went back to that more aggressive style of flying. It's so much nicer.
Anyways, yeah.
It's also interesting too, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you train on Phantoms still? We did a training in Detroit where we started with Mavic 3s and then we moved into Phantoms and all the students were ecstatic because of how they flew.
Well, and I think ultimately it challenges your skills a little bit better, a little deeper.
I agree.
It requires a little bit more, I don't know, call it connection to the controller.
Totally. I totally agree. So anyway, I figured out how to not drop a lot of money on 2 DJI drones and just have one attach a GoPro to your Mavic 3 Enterprise.
That's what you were going to say. So the GoPros are good enough now where you're not getting the big, what is it, the big fisheye effect?
Oh, you can go rectilinear on the lens for sure. Yeah, it's an option. So
okay, there you go.
I just don't know how you would control it. You'd have to go back to the old school days of filming where you just start filming
Turn it
when
on
you
and then take off.
Yeah. So that means extra work, but anyway, let's talk about these options because a lot of clients ask us these questions. It's not about what's the best American drone for mapping. It's not about, you know, what's the best American drone for marketing, for photography, videography, because look, most of these technical solutions in enterprises and drone programs also are conjoining assets with the marketing department and the storytelling of the solutions that are being presented and the use cases that are being presented, whether it be to the board, whether it be to the higher ups, or whether it be on LinkedIn as a whole. That being said, one of the first things that I think I want to get out there is there is a clear bifurcation on mapping up and mapping down. And if you are mapping a lot of assets and you need to do a lot of volume, chances are a larger camera is going to yield much faster results and much better results. So anytime that you're looking down, I think the FreeFly Astro Prime or Astro Max, depending on what kind of mapping you want to do, would be the fastest and most efficient for any drone mapping. That being said, the FreeFly Astro Prime is also a great platform. So if you want to fly LiDAR, if you want to fly an OGI sensor, if you want to fly some of these other things, the FreeFly Astro is a great platform to intertwine, say, a thermal payload with a large-scale mapping camera and also a LiDAR payload as well. In fact, we have a student right now who's purchasing an Astro Max from us. I forgot, we need to send him an invoice. And he's getting one of those drones right now. But that you may think that covers a lot of assets in mapping, and it most certainly does. But what we're finding is that LiDAR is still not always the solution as the data sets are really large. You have a lot of problems with proprietary software to manage point clouds, lack of client interpretation or ability to use the data. So a lot of people are still sticking with photogrammetry, which LiDAR is awesome. But I mean, like, if you actually look at some of the LiDAR providers, some are doing great and some not so much. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting to see. So if you're doing mapping, you're doing a lot of mapping, you want to look straight down, okay? LR1 Astro Prime, perfect for you. If you want a platform, you want LiDAR and mapping looking down, Astro Max, okay? Bigger motors, more capability, amazing system. But that only covers looking down.
So give an example of looking down mapping. Are you talking about just like kind of what our primary purpose is in our mapping boot camps?
Yeah, I think, if you're creating 2D or 3D maps and it's of a lot of areas like railroad crossings,
okay.
You're doing road construction mapping, even if you're doing construction-based mapping.
Or even accident reconstruction generally.
Oh, it's a phenomenal setup for that. Yeah. 100%. That's, I think, the best drone. The one key thing, too, that I think a lot of people miss out on, and I know we're going to move to another drone here in a second, but with the FreeFly Astro and that LR1 camera, you have a full frame Sony camera. So you have ND filters that fit on lenses. You have a multitude of lenses that you can use. You're not just stuck to one field of view. And what's most important is that you can take really pretty pictures, but you can also take 4K 60 video. Notice how few American drones have the mapping capability and the videography capability.
And the FreeFly does.
Yeah. It's the best platform.
It is, but it's obviously not cheap. It's an investment, but man, is it powerful. So a question just popped into my head when I think of a Sony and a full frame. I think of some of the people that have like those lenses that are like 8, 10, 12 inches long. Would that mess up the center of gravity? Is that probably too big?
That's a great question. No, you're going to be limited to a set of particular lenses on that camera. I believe there's like the 16, the 35, and the 50 millimeter lens. They do recommend, I think, the 50 for mapping. Now, you can get the interchangeable zoom lens, but on the LR1, there's still some issues with how that lens, the variable zoom lens, mounts to the camera, and it can cause some jello. So they do recommend having a fixed lens. And that nifty 50 is awesome because a 50 millimeter lens on a full frame camera is and I'm just guessing here, but it's like the equivalent of like a 30 millimeter on like a crop lens. So it's still fairly wide. It's not as zoomed in as you would think it would be just because the sensor is so large.
But just to be clear, you are limited on, it's not like you can with say a handheld ground-based camera where you could probably put 20 different lenses on it. You're not going to be able to do that.
No.
Okay. Interesting.
Gosh,
very interesting.
There's an opportunity though for Gremsy to come out with a gimbal for the LR1. Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Full frame camera gimbal that's like this big. That would be amazing.
They're probably working on it.
Yeah, it's true.
So you talk about looking down and that sort of traditional mapping, if you will, or photogrammetry. When you start talking about like dams, even certainly bridges, but some dams as well. What are we looking at for that? Is it still the FreeFly? Or?
No, I think this is where Skydio shines. Skydio's X10 and their 300L payload is significantly better. Now, Skydio is the only domestic drone that can look up. So if you're mapping bridges, you're mapping dams, if you're looking up into things, it has the capability, like imagine flying into a dam gate and looking up. It has the ability to map all of the infrastructure below that dam and do so at a pretty stellar capability.
And so really quick, what's the L versus what else they have?
So they have the 300L and the 300Z. The 300Z I think of as like the DFR payload, the drone as a first responder payload, because you've got that thermal camera, you've got the zoom camera, and it's really focused on Z for zoom. L is for more so mapping, complex objects, 3D scan. Now I think the L is also for nighttime payloads because there's a light on the L. So also, if you're looking up into a bridge and it's really dark below that bridge, you do have a literal strobe on the lens, which is amazing. I mean, it's really cool. I think this is where Skydio really shines. I know they're going after remote operations and they're crushing it there. But when it comes to our critical infrastructure, their capability to avoid small, thin objects, their capability to look up, their capability to create really beautiful, lifelike 3D models of various assets in various softwares. Frankly, I think they rise above the rest, and they just came out with a new Skydio X10 version 2. And they're actually not that expensive because when we were talking to OnGood, remember, he was like, yeah, if you want a 300L X10, it's going to be like 12, 13K, you know?
Before software.
But yeah.
And I believe software is, 50-60% of their revenue?
It is.
So that's not going away.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to buy that. Otherwise, it's a nice paperweight.
I do feel that that animosity, that tension, and I agree with you.
I would call it facts.
Yes.
Not animosity.
Facts over feelings.
Exactly. There's no. I'm not emotional about it. It's just the way it is.
Well, and I think it's very clear that their strategy with the software and pricing it the way that they do is to support the development of future drones. I mean, Adam talked about that on the show of like, how do we lower the curve of the maturity curve of building these products at scale? And that's how we do it.
My objective is to tell people the entire truth, not just a part of the truth. But let's back up a little bit and talk about one of the things with general or regular photogrammetry, we'll call it. What about the Matrice 4 Enterprise? Like, we didn't even include that.
No. Okay. So the Matrice 4 Enterprise, if you are still able to fly Chinese drones, which, we did that show on the whole Trump executive order. And it's I'm not going to lie. The reason I presented that show the way that I did was I just read it aloud and said, what do you think? Because I think it could be interpreted of one of two ways, that they're kicking the can down the road, or they want that security audit to happen in the next 30 days. And if it doesn't happen, DJI is on the entity list. What does that mean? If that is the case, then you want to go out and buy as much DJI as you can right now.
Which is easier said than done.
It is, yes, because also, like what's going to be on the news show today, there are no DJI drones available on the DJI store. DJI has banned themselves.
I will show you.
Yeah, you assholes.
Damn Americans.
Anyway, the Matrice 4 Enterprise, though, when it comes to 3D capture, again, this is looking down. As far as the best for the price, the best 3D quality looking down, that smart oblique capture is astonishingly good. And, some people went on my Matrice 4 Enterprise versus Mavic 3 Enterprise video, and they're like, the Mavic 3 Enterprise has smart oblique too. It does, but it flies a double grid, and it doesn't capture the same oblique angles that the Matrice 4 Enterprise captures. It's just not capable of doing it. And the smart oblique is, imagine if you want to fly a single grid and a double grid. So you want to do your ortho map, right? Your single grid, but you will also want 3D data. So you're going to do a double grid. Well, with the Matrice 4 Enterprise, it's going to do that smart oblique capture and gather your ortho mosaic and your 3D data all at once. So it actually significantly shortens the time to gather that data. In addition, Matrice 4 Enterprise can map at up to 47 miles an hour. Mavic 3 Enterprise, 33.7.
Mm-hmm.
So huge difference. And honestly, we have some enterprise clients who have been instructed to switch to American drones, but they still can fly DJI under one provision. They get activated and then they're literally logged out and never allowed to have internet again. And the way that they do it is they hotspot from their phone to activate the drone. So the drone never has Wi-Fi data to actually log on to any Wi-Fi. And I noticed that my Matrice...
So it is doable.
Yeah. I noticed that my Matrice 4 Enterprise linked up to my hotspot when I was outside one time. Even when I had not activated the hotspot.
Interesting.
So it just goes to prove again that if they want to connect to internet, they're remembering.
They are trying.
Call
it what you will.
I just got to say, man, if DJI would just wise the hell up and just look, if you don't have internet activation, you don't connect to the internet, it would be a really easy argument to allow people to keep flying DJI. Yeah. So, and look what's going on with TikTok. They found a buyer for TikTok. They extended the TikTok ban. They clearly don't want to be in a position where they have to ban a competitor, but they want to be able to prop up another competitor because the Chinese have taken very deliberate decisions to be the key supply chain for those things. And we see why it's so important.
Absolutely. So moving on in terms of drones, back to bridges and dams, and we'll start moving a little bit quicker through each of these, but what about the 350? Doesn't that have the ability to look up? Can you put something on it to look up?
The 350, 400, well, I mean, the old, what was it? The M200 had the upward facing payload. Yeah, but here's the thing. You buy an M350, you buy an M400, and you're spending more than a Skydio X10. And also there are, remember, any federal contract. So if you're mapping a bridge or a dam for any federal group, you can't use DJI. So it's kind of like you're blowing your load when you could have.
I don't know what that means. You're spending all your money?
Yeah, you're spending all your money. Thank you. On that drone versus just making the jump into American or domestically approved drones.
Right.
Which I know a lot of people don't want to do. Look, we love flying DJI too. But I think if you're trying to be objective and you're trying to make smart business decisions, at some point, the earlier that you make that jump, the more familiar you get with the domestic offerings, the better position that you'll be to take advantage of new and upcoming contracts, which there are a lot. In that big, beautiful bill, we see a continuation of the indexing of assets. We see a continuation of a lot of the infrastructure needs. So,
well, we know the infrastructure in America, just as a general point of reference, is in need of some work, right? Across the country.
Have you seen, I think Elon posted it on X a couple weeks ago, where he looked at the power generation between China, the United States, and India over the last 40 years. And we've been like at a consistent, what was it, like 10,000 terawatts or something of power generation for like the last 40 years. India has gone from like 2 to 9, and China has gone from 1 to 40. Like, so you've got, this just steady, slow increase at the United States, and then China blowing through that back in 2010.
Yeah, and there's a lot to that as well. I think China cares much less about their people, their air. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, but they're also speeding ahead when it comes to nuclear and some of those types of things.
I'm glad you brought this up because, when we've got a lot of utility clients, and I was making the argument last fall in one of the classes of like, I just don't see how you guys keep creating revenue without having nuclear generation.
Or keeping up with the demand.
Yeah, because with the rise of AI, with the rise of cloud software, EVs, all these things demand more power. Well, sure enough, one of our clients just announced that they're opening up a nuclear generation station.
Starting the process,
in 2026. And so I bring this up because I know a lot of you are like, I just don't want to move to American. The opportunities for American drones are off the charts when you consider how much more power generation needs to occur in the next 5 to 6 years. It's astronomical.
It is.
And if you're not going to ride that wave because you want to be emotional about how you love flying DJI and you don't want anything else, nothing competes, like we agree with you. But are you going to really sink your entire business because you like flying DJI and you refuse to fly anything else? It just, I don't know.
Hey, more business for those that are willing to make the change.
100%.
Dig those heels in.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So let's move on. And when it comes to a drone, is there any drone that you would suggest, American or not, that is going to be great still for technical mapping, etc., and video work and creative work?
That's the only one that fits that bill is going to be the FreeFly Astro Prime or Astro Max. Now, there's one other category to focus on before we move on to like all the other types of drones, but fixed wing drones. Like if you're mapping huge right of ways, and if you're in a utility, if you're mapping huge roads out in the middle of nowhere,
railroads.
Yeah, railroads. That's another great example. Your options become significantly limited based off of the infrastructure that you have available to you. What do I mean? You want to map large swaths of land? Well, do you have cellular service? Can you run RTK? Or is a PPK solution going to be a better fit? And I don't always mean throwing out 5 arrow points for every 25 acres, but rather using something like the Wingtra drone, where you can upload 1 arrow points data and the Rhinex data from a nearby tower, and then PPK up all of your photos and have geo-referenced large scale maps and models.
And it's pretty accurate stuff generally, right?
Oh yeah. I think it's like X, Y, and Z. It's like 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 5. Z is always going to be your most inaccurate elevation, and also that's where most people screw up in mapping. I mean, even look at
we saw it.
We're not
on the screen. I know what we're talking about.
Yep. Yep. Well, because you got your geoid height, right? You've got your orthometric height, and you've also got your ellipsoidal height. Which height is your surveying team using? Which geoid are they using if they're using a geoid? Because you could say, oh, they're using the geoid height. Okay, well, which one?
Yeah.
Because there's 20 of them.
Can you say mapping boot camp?
Yep. Well, and I mean, we solved a major problem for one of the largest governments in the United States on exactly that issue.
Yeah.
So all their maps were a foot off, and they're like, well, hold on, let's do.
And the surveyors weren't happy.
Nope. And then we solved that problem in 0.00 delta. So
can't beat that. So okay, so let's digging in just a little.
I didn't finish.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Large scale mapping. You need PBK, RTK. Wingtra 1 Gen 2 is an amazing system. You also have quantum systems,
which has been getting better and better, right?
Yes.
I don't think we've flown it, but
we
just
have
kind of
one.
what we've heard.
Yeah, we have one, but we haven't flown it.
We have an older one.
And then you have Census. Census systems, which is a very large scale,
a lot
VTOL.
more expensive, isn't it?
Yes. Lamborghini or Census drone.
Name the drone unless it's like Jetsons capability.
Okay.
I'm going Lamborghini.
Okay. Let me do this one more time. Census VTOL drone with ISR and mapping camera that could probably map 5,000 acres a day. Or 911 GT3 RS.
Oh, don't put a 911 into it. That's just not even fair. See, I'm a 911 guy. When you say Lamborghini, I at least have to go,
Oh, gosh.
No, but here's the thing. With that particular drone, if I could earn $10,000 a day,
yeah,
I could buy my dadgum 911.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know.
That is
it's a whole nother perspective. And how ambitious are you?
Yeah.
So fixed wing, and I was going to ask you about that later down the road as well, long distance inspections and so forth. So thank you for covering that. But back to the FreeFly, can you create or kind of spell out a couple of use cases where it would be worth that expenditure for a pilot?
So, okay, let's put it in this way. The FreeFly Astro is the only American offering that actually shoots good video. Okay? We're talking 4K 60. We're talking 10-bit video. We're talking ND filters. We're talking like high frame rate slow-mo if we want that too. If you were to think about, and it flies manual mode or altitude hold, so it's like attitude mode as well. So that means you open up the door to subject tracking, commercials, etc.
And it sounds badass. Go ahead.
It does actually sound super badass. So what DJI drone would allow you to do the same stuff? And don't sit here and say Mavic 4 Pro because that's horse. But no, it's horse caca because it doesn't have attitude mode. So you can't do really good, really close up subject tracking.
How could the Mavic 4 Pro not have attitude?
Because DJI wants to bifurcate. I think DJI, as much as people are like, Skydio, they're lobbying. It's like, well, DJI is shooting themselves in the foot too. Like, I hate to be the bearer of honest reality, but that is true. Okay, so Astro, attitude mode, high frame rate video, a full frame camera. What's the only DJI drone that does that? The Inspire 3.
Inspire 3, which is going to be $25,000 all in.
$25,000, okay? Now you need to do mapping. So you're dropping what, $6,000 to $10,000 on a Matrice 4 Enterprise? Guess what? Now it costs more than a FreeFly Astro. Huh, weird. And so when we talk about how DJI is shooting themselves in the foot, if I want to go to a construction site and I want to shoot hyperlapses for the marketing team to post on LinkedIn, I want to get mapping stuff, I want to be able to create a Gaussian splat, I need to get video and a panoramic photos, which by the way, everything I've mentioned is in most high-scale construction companies' deliverables set, okay? I'm going to need multiple DJI drones to do that. Okay, now you could argue, well, you don't need an Inspire 3 to do that. No, but if you wanted super high production, that ultra wide 2.44 to 1, you would. But you're going to drop just as much money as a FreeFly Astro. And it's like, why is no one talking about this? Like, they're actually, the drones are getting more comparable by the day.
Well, and I think that one reason is because of what you just said. You don't have to have the Inspire 3 to get really good stuff. And
you can get 90% there.
Right. And and most of the people that are going to be looking at it are going to be perfectly fine looking at the 90% there stuff.
I agree, but that's honestly how I screwed over most of my competition. Is because I would ask very calibrated questions. I'd be like, okay, well, that ultra wide anamorphic look that you guys love for your establishing shots, you can't shoot that with a Mavic, but you can shoot it with an Inspire. We have Inspires. They don't. Who do you want to use? We want a super zoomed in look. I'll never forget, what was that movie? The Harder They Fall. I want you to pull the mountains in so it looks like we're literally riding right into the mountains. Okay, well, let's add a 50 millimeter zoom lens. And yeah, the Mavic 4 Pro has that 70 millimeter zoom, but look at the detail in the mountains behind it. Like it has you lose so much detail because you're shooting on a smaller sensor.
Right.
So I know it gets 90% of the way there, but if you want to screw over the competition, you want to get the jobs that they can't do, you're looking at an Inspire.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And that makes a lot of sense in terms of complete or total outlay.
Yeah.
Compared to the FreeFly.
Yeah.
And the capabilities and the modularity.
Yeah.
Et cetera. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so in terms of NDAA, blue, whatever, is it still blue and green and purple and what are we at now?
Okay, so I think AUVSI has completely screwed the pooch on that.
Really?
Well, because the whole SOC 2 for green versus blue, SOC 2 is a joke. Like, if there's one particular security person I really want to have on the show, but he cannot come on the show because of his job. And he's the one who can perfectly explain why SOC 2 is like having a non-deadbolt lock on your front door.
A non-deadbolt lock. So
just a regular
like one
knob.
of those little beep.
So just like a regular like inside of your house, just like a regular
just a doorknob lock.
Doorknob lock. Yep.
Gotcha.
That would be SOC 2.
Okay. So just one little foot kick. Boom.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever done that.
Yeah.
I have not done that.
And I'm not a security professional, so don't ask me about it.
Yeah.
That being said, we also got to talk about confined space drones because a lot of people, you've got a couple options out there. DJI, you've got the Avata 2, right? If you look at domestic offerings, Helios 3.
Which is going to cost how much more than the Avata 2?
49,000 more.
But other than that, it's great. But you can bounce it off walls.
Yes, you sure can. Gosh, there's an opportunity there.
It is a cool drone. It's super cool. We flew that in New York as well. And it's pretty neat.
Well, and those two things are not comparable. I'm sure Helios is going to hear this and be like, what the hell?
And that's my fault. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so the Helios 3 has a SLAM LiDAR system on it. So it's actually mapping the environment as it flies through it and georeferencing it, which is fairly impressive.
It's not even close to the same.
Yeah. I will say that thing is so loud. It's like,
but it's normally in a confined space with like even in like tunnels and culverts and stuff where who cares if it's loud?
100%. Yeah. In fact, there were some use cases that we saw this last week at Drone Day that I was like, that should be a drone boat. I'm like, could you imagine a drone boat with like a 360 camera on it? Holy cow.
Do we not have those?
I mean, there's UUVs or submarines, but I don't know about like in that tunnel example, a UUV would not fit in there. It's too big.
When you say drone boat, you literally mean something floating.
Yeah, I mean, like I grew up.
Doesn't Walt use those? Boy, Walt?
Well, he uses like little fishing rigs and then affixes them with dual band.
Them?
Yeah, sonar. I mean, like the RC boats you grew up with, attach a freaking 360 camera on that, and you have a useful tool.
You could totally do that.
Yeah.
Totally do that.
I'm in the wrong business. Anyway.
We're going out to the lake this afternoon.
Yeah. Going back to confined space drones, though, you've got the Low-Key 2 that was done by Sky Hero. I think that's now owned by, like Aardvark selling them. Is it Axon that owns them?
What about Brink?
Oh yeah, we keep forgetting Brink. Brink has a couple of different drones. They've got their what is it called? Their drones that break glass.
Mm-hmm. Are those still? I mean, we haven't heard much about them in recent months. So are they still doing well?
I think that they are. They're trying to do drone as a first responder. So yeah, look, they have 3 different drones now. They have indoor tactical drones. They have this new drone. We got to cover this one. See, look at this. This looks like a Autel hooked up with a Skydio and had a child. Look at that thing. What do you even call that? That's cute. Oh, I like their design.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks well designed from what I can see.
It does.
But we don't know a whole lot about that, right?
No, we don't know a whole. Yeah, Lemur 2. Thank you. Lemur 2. So they have, multiple methodologies of flying their drones. I wonder how much that costs. We haven't gone down the rabbit hole on this one. So in addition, what is it? Parrot just launched a new drone yesterday.
Yeah.
So
that's another one we don't know a whole lot about.
Yeah, that one looks really interesting. So,
I think it's going to help them, or at least my perspective is that it's going to help them that it doesn't look like a dang bug.
Yes.
I think just the psychology of that was too much for people to get over. It's too gimmicky looking.
Yeah, I think you're right. And look, this Brink drone has a payload dropper where you can drop an AED, Narcan, EpiPen, PFD. This thing's pretty badass.
Actually, yeah, that is pretty cool.
I wonder how much this costs. Works in all lighting conditions, 3 to 6 centimeter accuracy, does mapping. Seems like we have a new drone that we need to cover here, Rob. I forgot that they launched this thing. I just remember they had that video about DFR where drones are responding to like a gas station robbery or something. Anyway, so Brink is out here too. In fact, I think Anka used to work for Brink, but I don't have personal experience with them. So, by the way, something funny. You know how we were doing the payload dropper as just like a fun camaraderie exercise at Power Authority?
Yeah.
At Skydio was doing the same thing with the X10s in Germany, but with like grenades.
Oh, jeez. Well, we had little rockets.
Yeah, we had little Nerf rockets. The Gresco saved the day. Here's a shout out to Gresco UAS. Thanks for helping us.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Those little beads from your beanbag were very, very helpful.
They really were. You saved the day.
So you already talked a little bit about large area mapping. Do you think you did confined space, said everything you want to say about that?
Well, so we talked about Loki 2. Brink has their drone. Avata 2 is the cheapest. I think there's going to be a new player in this confined space area. I would not be surprised if Skydio dropped a VTOL drone, a confined space drone. Like, you know, they're one of the few people, as much as everyone wants to crap on them, they're one of the few people that is not a systems integrator. Brink, that's Autarian flight controller, right? FreeFly, Autarian flight controller. There's a lot of Autarian flight controllers.
Which isn't a bad thing necessarily, is it?
No, but I think they handicap the industry. Personally, because if you look at the core components and how much they cost, you've got to bring that cost down if we're ever going to compete. So I think they have a stellar product. I'm excited that 3D Robotics is back creating their own flight control system because that's going to shake everything up. The more competition, the better, in my opinion, because the better offerings that we're going to have.
But what you're saying is that Skydio has their own now. They started out with Autarian, right? But they don't have it anymore.
Correct. Yep.
As of what, a year ago or something?
Something like that. Yeah. Because I asked Adam about that when he was here.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh.
Very cool. Okay.
All right. So we talked about mapping. We talked about creative work. We talked about platforms. We talked about LiDAR.
A little bit about LiDAR, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit about LiDAR.
This isn't really a show on LiDAR per se, but what drones carry LiDAR?
I think Inspired Flight covers LiDAR or carries LiDAR. FreeFly Astro Max carries LiDAR. Even the Wingtra now carries LiDAR.
Does what DJI drone? Does the 350 or the 400?
The 400 has the L2 LiDAR.
Okay.
Yeah. From what I understand, a lot of... And this, we could literally do a whole show on this. You know, everyone wants to talk about NDAA approved drones.
Well, because they have to, in a sense.
Yeah, but have you noticed that there's now an NDAA approved parts list?
I didn't know.
And you know what's really interesting is that if you look at most LiDAR units, you look at Rock Robotic, you look at LiDAR USA, Phoenix LiDAR, all this, it's the Hensai 32 XT core.
Same thing.
Where's that made?
China.
And that's really expensive.
And these are on NDAA approved drones?
So how is that NDAA approved? I just think that this is still all being fleshed out.
It is.
It's really interesting. By the way,
it's an evolving industry, sure.
I think we're going to have Stefanik on the show.
No.
Yep, I got the details yesterday night.
Oh, that would be amazing.
At like 10:30.
Please come on. We would love to have you. That would be truly amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so
okay, so LiDAR, and so the 400 you said can carry it. Skydio doesn't have any LiDAR at this point, do they?
No, because they're playing an Elon Musk, right? If you think Waymo is LiDAR based, Elon Musk is saying neural network with stereoscopic sensors, etc.
Got it.
And
different philosophy. Yeah,
and DJI is saying, screw all of you. We're going to use radar and stereoscopic sensors and combine them, which is, yeah. Honestly, I think the one thing I want to buy for our Matrice 4 Enterprise before we can't anymore is the radar module, because they say that it can navigate complex environments better than Skydio.
Really? Well, that'd be interesting to test.
It really would.
Put the put the money where your mouth is.
Yeah, and how fast can it actually fly while using that? That's always the limiter. So.
I have a totally random question. Would you get in one of Elon's cars, self-driving cars, and drive it across Austin right now?
So I've been thinking about selling my crypto to buy a robo-taxi to have it make money around FOCO.
But would you get in it and drive it across?
No.
Okay. But if you would, please hop on in.
Hey, here's a ride for you.
Okay, fair enough. There have not been, it's probably not proven yet.
I mean, okay, so even that Lexus that Lisa got as our GX is being worked on, it has the same adaptive cruise control that the Expedition has.
Yeah.
But it's worse than the Expedition. The Expedition is like, keep your hands on the steering wheel, even though it's driving. Okay, well, Lisa's has an eye sensor. And she looked at me to talk, and the dashboard lit up red. And it was like, driver not engaged. Look forward. Driver not engaged. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're ruining driving. Like,
I'm going to go backwards and buy like a 69 Camaro.
Well, look at Bezos, right? He's like, everyone loves to drive. It's one of the few things that especially men love to do on a daily basis. It's an outlet. So let's design Slate Auto to be an EV, but you're in full control and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
It's like the Legos of cars. I'm surprised John McBride's not all over that thing. Anyway, that was a Lego
joke. I don't know
joke.
what that means.
John McBride's like the king of Legos. So
he is?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
How interesting. All right. So
he's a tinkerer at heart, man. His heart's in the right place. Anyway.
No, I love Legos.
Yeah.
We still have tons of them at our house. Anyways, not that I play with them every night. Drones that I don't, but I would. Who has time for that?
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Okay, keep going.
Did I just go down? So anyways, drones that you're excited about, platforms you're excited about. We've kind of been touching on them a little bit as we go, but what are like the top 2 or 3 that kind of get you excited in terms of what's coming? And we didn't even talk about drone delivery, but we can maybe touch on that as well.
So what sucks is that there are, we need to talk about drone in a box solutions. I'll be honest with you. A lot of the new drone manufacturers that we're seeing and we've talked about on the news show, like PDW, the other group that's out of Silicon Valley.
We haven't had a chance to spend any time with the Inspired Flight.
No, we
haven't. Good.
We haven't. Although I've got some friends with firsthand experience on them.
Okay.
There's Whisper drones as well. I think they're very similar to Inspired Flight. And honestly, they're creating a great user experience. I still think all of our American drones are really limited by our radios and our video transmission system. You look at, and like OcuSync,
which is going to matter when BVLOS becomes more mainstream.
It really does. Man, is there a training opportunity in that? Because I've been reading a lot of waivers for BVLOS, and pretty much the FAA is like, it's fine if you crash, just crash right here. And it's like, you have no legitimate systems of mitigating emergencies. I'm like, this proves that you guys have no idea what you're talking about. So there's an opportunity for us. Anyway, that being said, Ascent Aero, here we go. That's the one. Ascent Aero is something that I'm very excited about.
Interesting.
And then I think Ascent.
Whoa.
Yeah, this drone is what I'm really excited about.
Why?
A lot of people are saying there is no consumer American drone, and you're looking at it. The Ascent Aero Systems, what is Helios? It's a 249 gram nano drone.
That's trippy.
That's dope. It looks dope.
What's dope about it? Like
coaxial design, super small and portable. The camera's stabilized on the inside instead of the outside.
So it's on a gimbal. There's a gimbal in there?
Interior, yeah.
Yeah.
So not really a gimbal per se, but more so that the sensor stabilized. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
what's it going to be used for? Seems like you could use that for confined space in some sense too.
Oh yeah, they say industrial, public safety, even military, but I don't think they're going to come close militarily. We haven't talked about the FLIR drones either, but I'll be honest, I wasn't super impressed with the FLIR drones. Just in lack of transmission signal, very bulky the way it flies. And this is one thing, a lot of people ask me, what's the one true American drone that you believe in? If you've flown all these different drones, you notice a pattern. And the pattern is the way that they fly. DJI, if you press the pitch stick forward, the drone has almost a deadband where the drone starts to pitch forward and just move linearly. If you notice, a lot of the American drones, they like sink in elevation and then start to move forward in a pitch. It's almost like a wave-like motion, right? And this goes back to the whole systems integrator thing. You can tell that what these drones are made with by how they fly.
Because that's all kind of software driven.
It is. And that's why I think FreeFly is the only group that's actually like mastered how to program the drone to make it feel natural. I mean, even when I put the drone in some of those NIPA hands, they're like, wow, this thing is really nice. And I'm like, I've been telling you guys. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's funny. It doesn't resonate until you feel it.
Yeah.
So,
true. Or at least see it, but definitely feel it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of drones too that we're not covering just because so many are popping up. But what I will say is, if you're still allowed to fly a DJI for whatever reason, buy what you can while you can. You know, things could end in a month. They could end in 240 days. It's unclear.
Yeah, and we still have the Rick Scott Act that he's submitted that people need to pay attention to.
Which would be a full Chinese ban.
That's more of a ban. It's not till 2028 if it were to come through as written, but that's something else to keep an eye on. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, we fly DJI every day.
And I love it. Yeah, I love it. Anyway, we covered confined space, we covered LiDAR, we covered platform, we covered creative, we covered mapping, looking up, looking down. I know there's some more stuff out there like OGI payloads, fixed wing payloads, etc. I would say the one DJI drone I'm really excited about, Rob, is the Mini5 Pro, because it's going to have prop guards. And it's going to meet that category 1 of flight over people operations.
And it's going to be under 250 grams?
Uh-huh. That's going to be the most valuable bang for your buck drone. Any drone, domestic or foreign, I think in the next year. And if they ban DJI and you're able to buy one of those, I would totally buy one. Like, we have to have two. So
Sure.
But we also just bought another Avata 2. We've been doing a lot of Cinewhoop training, a lot of FPV training. We've really been expanding our platform because our fundamental core systems can be customized while keeping the core to keep people safe. So,
absolutely. Well,
anyway.
I hope that this answers a lot of questions, but that it also generates questions in terms of, well, what about this? You didn't cover this particular vertical. You didn't cover this particular drone. Let us know. We can dig into them.
Yeah, 100%. Ask those questions. AskDroneU.com. If you're shy and you don't want to say it, just email us, support@thedroneu.com. Email your question in. We would love to hear it. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to help, to provide insights and information that help you make better decisions in running your drone program, generating enterprise solutions, or just taking flight because you absolutely love to do it. We love helping, and if you're an enterprise solution, a drone program, we are a training provider for many enterprise programs, and we would be happy to help you scale up your teams. Just reach out to us, either Paul or Rob at thedroneu.com. That's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
I'm Rob.
This is Ask Drone U.